Hi guys, welcome back. A few little things I want to try and get done today. As you can see, as you probably have noticed already, I have started organising the garage a bit better, so I can actually get in here and actually find the tools I need to find, so it's not so much of a mess. What I want to try and do today is get the tow bar off the Land Rover. I've already made a start on that and I've already got the main bracket off, so a few bolts actually come undone quite easily. I managed to get the tow bar, that back bracket. The only thing left to do is to get the arms that bolt onto the chassis off. But anyone who's ever done these knows that they're C-solid, so I'm going to have to cut the nuts off with a disc grinder, and then take the arms off, cut them flush with the chassis, and then I can knock them out once the fuel tank's dropped off and out of the way. Okay, underneath the car now. So this is the passenger side tow bar arm. That's the bolt that's going to be seized in here, which I'm going to have to probably put a bit of heat maybe and drive out afterwards. And if you can see very well, that's the nut. That's the nut there I've got to cut off. I've tried various different things, but nothing seems to be budging it. So I'm going to cut it off, coming in sort of this direction with the disc cutter, and that will release the arm and get that out of the way so I can drop the fuel tank. Passenger side's a lot easier. There's this cutout section here in the tank, so you've got a bit better access. But on the driver's side, there's not a lot of space there, so I have to come in from this bottom angle here to cut this one off, and then same on that, and then this is quite a lot of rust there, so there will be some plate work going into that. I think that's the worst spot. So yeah, not looking too good up in there either, to be fair, but it's okay. So I'm going to get on and get these cut off, and then okay, so I have managed to get both arms off, so that's a win. That's both arms off there, and the bolts on the passenger side come out. Really good. We'll focus on that, and you can see it was corroded in there. It's starting to go thin at this bottom edge here, so I'll get new bolts for those anyway. So that's that side out, which is good. I can get a wire brush of some sorts in there to clean that out. I'll put plenty of grease into it, copper grease in there when I reassemble it. This one unfortunately isn't coming free. I was lucky with the other side that I took the nut off, and it was that had relieve the tension enough for it to start turning, but this one I think is more seized than the other side. So I was going to soak it in WD-40, give it 20 minutes, half hour, give it another soak and then come back and see if I can get it free. If it doesn't come free, I'll just have to, should be able to get the fuel tank to come past that with the space I've got the other side. I might not. So I might just have to cut that end off flush, just so I can drop the fuel tank out. Right guys, so it's a different day now. Still not as cold as it was, which is good. I've done a few bits and pieces off camera. You saw I got the last 2 bits of the tow bar taken off, 2 parts of the bottom of the chassis. I had to cut the nuts off and split them off, and then the bolts themselves, after I'd have relieved the pressure off, gave them a bit of heat and loads of WD-40, a couple bits of hammer, big brake bar, and they managed to come loose. So I managed to get those off, which is brilliant. What I've done off camera now is I've taken the fuel tank out. That's only 2 nuts and 2 bolts. The filler pipe and the breather pipe, and there's another one there, and then the connections off the top of the fuel pump. So I did that yesterday in between the rain showers. Didn't video it, but I'll get the video of it going back in. So there's not really much you can see whilst you've got a trolley jack and a fuel tank lifting it up and taking it out. You can't really get in and see very much, so I thought I'd best just get it out a bit quick whilst the rain wasn't happening. But I have found there's quite a bit of rust on the chassis. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to get some wire wheel attachments, just some wire wheel attachments from my angle grinder, and I'm going to, it's a bit worn out but I'll be alright, I'm going to clean up the chassis. Okay, so underneath the car now, and as you can see, the chassis has seen much better days. So that's quite a long one there. That wasn't visible yesterday, that was just bubbling steel yesterday, and after I got it off, a couple of taps with a hammer and it's just started opening up. So that's the first big problem I found. The other one is underneath, so right under, and obviously massive gaping hole, so that'll have to be cut out, put pretty much up to here. May even have to cut this off to the places. It's had a patch on before, I noticed, so that's a patch in there. So I'll probably end up cutting that one out and redoing that whole section. I might have to cut this bracket off, which is the tow bar, and then cut out the whole piece side and then a strip on the bottom. But also there's I don't know if you're going to see very well, yeah, daylight through there. On top of the chassis leg there's a hole on the top, but that's it, and the rest of it is all, looks to be not too bad. I've been around everything with a hammer and hit it, and then this side, that hole's supposed to be there, those 2 small holes are supposed to be there, so it doesn't look too bad. Okay. So I'm thinking, not do much like that. I'm thinking about here somewhere. Thinking about there. Right there. That's going to come right up into that joint there. And follow that line. Pull it out. And the same along the bottom there. So that's coming out anyway. Right. Get rid of that lot, and hopefully that'll give me enough to get that other piece on. What's even more interesting is the steel itself. I'm going to have to show you. The steel itself is only thin, and it's got this reinforcing angle in all four corners, so I don't know if it's had a repair job in the past at some point, or if it's just how they are. So with cutting all that out and this angle here, and that angle's still not as thick as the steel I got. With cutting all that out and welding it all in, that should make it stronger than it was originally. So, right, so I'm going to put a new cutting disc on, and then do that cut in there first, straight down, and then come in level across the top, that one, and then the bottom last of all. I'll do the bottom first. Bottom first, probably. Edges, bottom, and then top. Nothing. Okay, so that's what I've cut out. Looks quite bad, I know, but right, not torch again because I need to get a new lamp. So it's not looking too bad in there, and that's what I said about those angles. That I've got 4 of them that make up the corners of the frame. So obviously this bottom one is not going to have much in there, and then that's that box, that triangular box I told you about. There's another support to stop the chassis from crumpling in, I'm assuming. So now what I've got to do is get the plate down, offer it up, and then cut it to the, trim it down to the right size, make sure it all fits in. We'll leave it like a mil or so longer, and then clean up these edges, and I might try and get that one welded in. I don't know what time it is at the moment. I think it's got to be getting on for like 3:30, something like that. So if I can get that one bit at least tacked in today, I'll be happy. I'm not sure what to do about these angles. I mean, they're not too bad on the bit I cut off, so I could try and take them off and weld those onto the new panel. Drill some holes and spot weld them on, and I can weld it all together. I'm not sure, because that's the thing there, so I could try and take it off. Yeah, but inside, apart from the bottom there, it all looks pretty alright. So I think that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and see if I can salvage that bit. I don't think I'll be able to. That piece there might be alright. Don't think I'm going to be able to salvage them. It's okay. I can come up with something else. Okay, so what I've got to fix the problem. These were originally sold as a chassis leg reinforcing kit. They got all the cutouts to go around the different attachments and stuff that was on the chassis arms. You get two inner ones, so one for either side, and then you get a selection of these different patterned parts that go with one or either of those, and then they go on the outside. Okay, so mark that. I've marked it a bit longer than it needs to be, purely so I've got a bit extra there to work with. So I'm going to cut that, get rid of that bit. Okay, so I've trimmed that to size, I'm happy with it. So now what I've got to do is I need to prep everything. And take the cutting disc off, and I've got one of these, I don't even know what grit it is, 40 grit, so it's a 40 grit flat disc for my grinder. So I'll put that on, I'll clean all the edges and see about putting a bit of a chamfer on the steel there, because there's those really thick parts but also really thin bits, and I'll put the chamfer on this. Luckily where those thicker parts are on the inside, they're only like that far apart in the centre, and hardly anything in the middle. Well, you can see it here, as you can see. I don't know if you can or not. The gap between them isn't hardly anything, so with the new piece, which is which is thicker than those bits inside. I'll cut that angle there, so that one there. Yeah, so the steel I'm putting in is the same thickness as what was inside. So it's going to be plenty strong enough. Plenty strong enough. Especially considering I don't really tow anything. Most of the tows are small trailer. So, but yeah, so I've got that on there. I just need to, if I go back, I need to put my respirator back on. Hat again, because I get sparks in my head, really hurts. Really hurts. Ears, gloves, clean up underneath first, and then clean this bit up. And then it's just a case of get my welder out and tack it in place. I hope I get it in the right place. And this cutout here is for the tow bar mount. So I'm going to have to come up with something with that. So, because that originally went around the welds. So I'm going to have to come up with something for that. But to get that in the right place isn't going to be too difficult, because the other side's not being cut off. And I can mount the tow bar back on, and I can put the arms on, and then I can bolt that up to the arm, and then put it up to the right spot. Get it in the right spot, support it, and then weld it in place. So that won't be shouldn't be too difficult, even for me. But yeah, all that's got on the inside is the angled reinforcer, and then the thin sheet steel that was over the top to give it the shape. That's all that's on the inside of that. So if I have to put a bit of sheet steel on the inside just to take up a bit of a gap, that's fine. If not, I won't. But that shouldn't be too difficult. So anyway, enough chatting, more doing.